Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Are You In? I know I've been away for a while, but I am back with a brand new edition, and I'm so happy to cover this next album, which is Foo Fighters' latest album, Concrete and Gold. Now, I listened to this album right when it came out, and unfortunately, I had to push this back. If you've seen my holiday update video, you'll know why. But I definitely wanted to do this next, especially when my last album review was Queens of the Stone Age Villains. Because usually these bands are kind of put in the same light. You know, when people are talking about Queens of the Stone Age, they usually talk about Foo Fighters as well. And Dave Grohl and Josh Homme are great friends, so thought this would be the next really good album to review. Anyways, I'm going to try to do this a little bit differently today and try to keep this within 15 minutes. I have a new setup, so without further ado, if you don't know Foo Fighters, and I would be surprised if anyone out there doesn't know Foo Fighters, they are a hard rock, post grunge band from Seattle, Washington. Also, if you see me looking down, it's because got some notes on my phone. Anyways, uh, the current members include Dave Grohl, lead singer, rhythm guitar, Nate Mandel on bass guitar, Pat Smear on rhythm and lead guitar, Taylor Hawkins on drums, and Chris Shiflett, lead guitar and backing vocals. And then for this particular album, they added a new member, Rami Jaffe. I don't know if I got that name right, but he is a keyboard and organist on this particular album. It's interesting that over the years, their lineup has changed a lot. On their first album, it was literally just Dave Grohl recording everything, every single part. Then they, as time went on, they added people, they cut people. There are certain albums where they're just a trio, certain albums where they're five members, so on and so forth. Um, their discography, vast and very good. You got Foo Fighters in 95, Color and Shape in 97, There's Nothing Left to Lose in 99, One by One in 2002, In Your Honor 2005, Echoes, Silence, Patience, and Grace in 2007, Wasting Light in 2011, and Sonic Highways in 2014. Now, even though I don't necessarily consider them my favorite band, they're definitely up there. I have listened to every one of their CDs, and I see where their place in rock and post grunge movement, where they lie. They are one of those stadium rock bands that have stood the test of time. Foo Fighters, their first album isn't one of my favorites, but I see why it's an important CD. Color and the Shape is incredible. If you haven't heard it, you probably have heard a lot of their singles on there. Everlong, My Hero, Walking After You, Monkey Wrench, all those came from that CD. And then Nothing Left to Lose. Again, not as great as Color and Shape, but still holds its own. Has Give Me Stitches, Learn to Fly, Aurora, Nothing Left to Lose, Break Out, Generator. A lot of really, Stacked Actors, fantastic CD as well. One by One, not as great, but still another CD that has a lot of really good songs on there. You have, you got Come Back, Lonely as You, All My Life, Times Like These. Some of their Times Like These and All My Life, again, awesome singles. In Your Honor, again, really good songs on there, but Too Long is a double CD. Has a lot of good songs, but not enough great songs to span the two discs. But still, No Way Back, Best of You, DOA, awesome singles. Echo, Silence, Patience, and Grace, actually one of my favorite CDs, even though not many people put it up there as one of their favorite Foo Fighters CDs. But I think as a cohesive CD, it's awesome. You got The Pretender, Let It Die, Come Alive, Stranger Things Have Happened, Cheer Up Boys, Your Makeup Is Running, but honestly, all these really, really solid songs. And then, boom, 2010, Wasting Light, probably their best CD. Me personally, I mean, I know Color and Shape is a CD that everyone goes to, but I love Wasting Light. It is one of my favorite albums since 2010. Should have won Grammy of the Year. Adele unfortunately won that year, but I personally would have voted for Wasting Light. That is an amazing CD. Every single song on there is solid. Um, then they kind of pushed it back. Sonic Highway 2014, not great, but an interesting concept. Um, they went to different studios all across the United States and like learned the history about them and then put them in songs. And I think that's a really cool idea, even though it wasn't uh, well received. So that's where that's where we're up to. So now, 2017, they drop Concrete and Gold. Now, is it going to be more like all the great CDs, or is it going to be more like Sonic Highways? Personally, uh, I think it's somewhere in the middle, but let me tell you why. So the highlights in general, they have a lot of the highlights for me. It's a very mixed bag in terms of sound. You It's not like a lot of the other CDs where it has one particular sound and it does it very well, but um, just one particular sound in general on the CD. With this CD, you have a lot more variance. You have something like Sunday Rain, which is more of like a bluesy type of sound, a la like a Led Zeppelin or a Beatles song. You have something like "Sky's the Neighborhood," which is more of an rock anthem with a southern twang to it. You got "Make It Right," which has again another like uh, more energetic and again has more of like a 70s rock sound. Um, Run, heaviest song on the CD, probably one of their heaviest songs ever. All these variants, and it works well on each other. It never feels like it never feels like the CD is chugging along. It just goes from one to the next. And not all of them are great, but I like the variants on it. My personal favorite songs on there are Dirty Water, which is so cool. So if you listen to my Villains CD review, um, Foo Fighters are kind of the same way in the idea of um, building and using dynamics, and I love that because not enough musicians do that. If you listen to a lot of pop music, you don't really hear the dynamic build. Whereas because the Stone Age do more layering on their work, Foo Fighters use more of a dynamic build, going from soft to loud and making it work. There's a lot of songs that you've heard in the past. Uh, Let It Die is a perfect example. It starts very very quiet, and then builds and builds and builds when the drums come in, and then when that last bridge comes in the chorus, it's just like boom, it's full energy. Um, and some of the songs don't really work that well this time around in terms of that energy, or even like Everlong. Everlong does the same thing. Um, this dynamic build that people don't usually use in music, and that's why I appreciate it a lot because you learn it when you're a student. You learn the idea of dynamics and crescendo and decrescendo, and polka a polka, like gradually uh, building, and it's nice to see musicians using that. So Dirty Water does that. Dirty Water works very well in the idea of keeping it very light at the beginning, and it has an awesome chord progression. It starts in C, so it's a C sharp minor 7, going to a G chord, going to a C major 7, and then A, and then E. And that really is a really cool progression that I don't hear in a lot of popular music in general. So it's cool that they're building out uh, their musical knowledge, and that's really cool to me. Um, and then the chorus comes in, um, and it builds a little bit more, and then you get to the bridge part, and they're just keep singing a particular phrase, and it keeps building, keeps going, and it's so cool. It's one of my favorite songs on the album. I'm sad that it's not a single, at least from what I know, it's not a single, because it is the best song on the album. Then you have "Make It Right," another really really cool song, with another cool chord progression um, in the chorus. Um, just chugs along, feels like a train, and it's just really really cool feel. Um, the chord progression is B to aim A flat or G sharp to um, F to D. And if anyone understands that, um, musicians out there, what they're basically doing is they're going down minor thirds. So they're building a diminished chord going down that way. And it would, if you actually go back to from D, your next step would go back to B. So it goes in a full circle, which is really really cool. Not many. Again, it's not a chord progression that you hear all the time. So that's cool. I really really like the song. And funny enough, there is a cameo on there. Justin Timberlake actually is on that song, though you don't really hear him. Um, "Sky's the Neighborhood," awesome song. Again, another like a heavy hitting song on the album. Definitely a more of a rock anthem with a little bit of like a southern rock feel. "Run" is a really good song. So like on the top end, they do really well. On the bottom end, it feels so. This is where my negatives come in. On the bottom end, the the bottom end is either bad or kind of uninspired. If there are certain songs that feel like songs from the past, so "The Line" is one really big example there. It's not a bad song. It's just a song that feels like you could have thrown it onto any other um, Foo Fighters album, and it would have stuck there. It's and it's unfortunate that it's a single because it feels like any other single that they've done. Um, but the biggest and the biggest sin for me on this album is the last song. So it's the title song on the album, "Concrete and Gold," um, and it's it's so annoying. It's their longest song on the album. It's slow paced. The guitar line to me is very annoying, and it just doesn't really work to me. That it's supposed to. It's a claim that it's supposed to have more of a Pink Floyd influence, and to me, it's just very sludgy, and it's not my type of song. And it's frustrating to me that that is the last song on the album on such a not a great album, but a very consistent album. That's where they dropped the ball. Um, so I don't understand why this is the last song. I don't understand why it's on the CD. It doesn't really work with any other song on the album. Um, and I think it's a wasted opportunity because you are ending on such a low note that to me it drops down this CD. And for some reason, um, there's a cameo on there which doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it's fine, but why is he here? So on there, apparently, Sean Stockman from Boys to Men is cameoing on this song, and that if you listen to the song, it feels out of place. Luckily, you don't really hear him, so it's not like a huge problem, but it's weird that that's there. And like really quickly going back to um, their dynamic range that they use. One particular song that doesn't really work on there is "T-Shirt," their opening song. It's an alright song, but that dynamic build does not work. It just like quiet, then automatically loud, and doesn't really fit their motif. So wasn't a great song for me. But everything else, for the most part, is solid. Arrows is another song. Unfortunately, feels like a song that could have been on any CD that they've done. Um, but in general, solid CD. Again, interesting cameos. Justin Timberlake, Sean Stockman, Paul McCartney plays drums on Sunday Rain, which is also an awesome song as well. It feels really cool, and it's the first song in a while that Taylor Hawkins sings on. The only other song that I know of that he does lead singing on is "Cold Day in the Sun," and that's a horrible song. So I'm glad that he got a chance on something really, really cool and really, really hard hitting. Um, so overall, good CD. In terms of Villains, Villains is the better CD. In terms of their discography, I would put it above. Um, I put it above Sonic Highways. I would put it up above One by One. But that's basically it. It's not a bad CD. It's a solid CD, but certain things drag it down. And one last problem that I have with it, um, on a singles level, it's not, the singles are good, but if you look in their past repertoire, the singles aren't as strong as other singles throughout their discography. So that's another reason why it drags it down for me. Like if you were compared to ever, like it's hard. I know that like they have had so many different singles, so many influential singles. That's hard for me to say like, hey, this isn't as good as these singles. But if you were to take a listen to the singles on here and transpose it to any other CD, I feel like you would feel like this is not their strongest CD when it comes to singles. So overall, if you're a hard rock fan or a Foo Fighters fan in general, definitely listen to it. It's fun. It's varied. It's probably their most varied CD in a very long time, if not ever. Um, and if you're a rock fan in general, I think you would like it. Just skip the last song. It's not worth it. So that's my review on Concrete and Gold. Um, Hopefully you like it. Let me know how you feel about the difference in what I'm doing with the highlights and the lowlights. I'm still working it out, as you can see. I had so much to say on this, and I'm trying to say it as quickly as possible. So if you want to hear more album reviews, I'll put a playlist on there on this video, as well as I'll put the link to the CD so that you can listen to it for yourself. As always, you can like this video, comment on what albums you would like me to review next, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and yeah, the biggest thing is, what CDs would you like me to review next, especially your favorite ones from 2017. Also, one thing that I would like to put on here, if I can find it, there was a website that ranked every single song that Foo Fighters has done from their first CD up until Sonic Highways and Saint Cecilia, including all their B tracks. It was a really, really cool project. I actually took the time to listen to every single one of them. So if you're a Foo Fighters fan, I think you would be interested in seeing how they ranked everything. So I'll put that there if I can find it. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next album review. Peace.